Hey, what up? It's Pedro. I'm going to talk to you guys about the tree of life and the four worlds today. So, the first is where you are, right? Where you are outside in the physical world. And that's Malkuth. And then Yesod, which means connection, sometimes referred to as the machinery of the universe, and houses the astral plane and all the entities living within the eighth sphere. And those two make up Asaya, which means action. Now, the second sphere of awareness, let's call them the four worlds you live in, are is Yetzirah, which means foundation. Yetzirah contains Yesod, as well as Had and Nechek, the mind and emotions, and Tiferet. This is the like seat of intuition. They call it the heart center. Okay, um, this is where the first beginnings of awakening start to take seat later on, and then we have Bria, which has Chesed, which means mercy, Gevarah, the law. This is the structure. And this is where all of the right hand path modalities come from, healing modalities, the light work, and except for some light work. And then this is Gevarah is where all the left hand path modalities come from. At their highest point, there's low magic as well. And then from here is Atziluth, but Atziluth, you can't see the whole sphere of awareness. And so it means near to the creator. These are the supernal trinity, right? This is Kether, Chakma, and Bina, or crown, father, mother. And then this is still the abyss. It's not the sun, but we'll get to how the sun works part of it later, right? The Luciferius Christos, or the Christ consciousness. You know what I mean? Um, so so we're not going to draw that sphere of awareness the same way because we can only see a part of it. It reaches out into places that we will never be in this incarnation of energies, right? But we can see parts of it. We can see that the Trinity is three forces, with these three forces emanating here, and we can see that it's given energy um, to these other spheres of awareness from which we can't see the end. And then I think it's worth mentioning a little bit about the two pillars, right? Gold and silver. Gold is the pillar of force, and that's the light, Chakma constantly firing into Bina, which is like an empty bowl, right? The dark mother. And so, like, this is the light, and then the structure that holds the light, that creates reality, is the silver. That's form. And the Judaic religion chose gold and silver um, because they said that it was an example of how God had to withhold more than he gave to make creation. Um, and their God was Ensof, but really it's the same thing. In Hindu, they said it as well, that, like everything emanated from Krishna, and he was the center of a cone of this manifestation of existence. And that's the same idea, that there's a singular force that creates, you know, many forces. Uh, in fact, there is angel correspondences to most of this that I think that you probably could tie to any group of gods from any religion that has a long-standing esoteric tradition. But we can get into that later for a different reason. Now, when you start to build awareness, right, the structure of these things starts to change a bit. You know what I mean? So like when you practice, let's say, mindfulness enough, then what Gurdjieff called the magnetic center starts to form, which is basically the rods holding in place that says, like when you build more neural pathways because you have neuroplasticity, you know, this is like saying, okay, well, you practice enough, you have enough attention now, and so there's this structure there, and it starts to make it, it starts to become a magnet for the energy in the astral plane. And like as that continues, then eventually you have energy up as well, right? Now you've unlocked, this is like crown, you know, and ascension stuff, soul star, right? Up here. And then you've got your left and right hand path modalities, and you can start to sense that there's like this other consciousness, and you're not sure if it hasn't like formed completely yet. You've talked to your guides for a long time, and that's what these structures are. Now the energy's really growing, and this is like guides and then ancestors and astral travel, right? And you start to be able to do whatever healing you're going to do if you're balanced, and whatever left hand path you're going to do, whether that's harm or get rich or tell the future or a little of all three, whatever you're doing over here. And then um so that starts to go in a direction. And then finally, um at the very end, the energy from the top slides down and a presence forms here, a new fully formed consciousness. um the the Western esoteric tradition, occultists call this the knowledge and conversation with the holy guardian angel. And at this point, you have access to the source energy, so there's less ceremonial magic left in it, right? um and that's an introduction to the four spheres of awareness, or the four worlds, and how it applies to what some groups of initiates called squaring the circle, and what a lot of us call awakening. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Bye.